Most people never become rich. Do you want to know why? I am going to tell you a secret that can shock you. The reason you do not have money is not that you are not working hard. It is not that you are not working hard enough. And it is not that you were not born in a rich family. I also spent many years with no money in my pocket, trapped in a cycle of despair, until I realized something that was destroying me. And when I got rid of this habit, my whole life changed. I completely became a person with millions of wealth from a poor man. Today, I am going to tell you exactly what I did. I had a habit that was destroying my energy. It was taking away my opportunities, and it was keeping me where I was, in poverty, and I did not even realize it. It is possible that you are also doing the same right now, without knowing. I used to complain about everything, about my boss, my salary, my lack of opportunities, my financial situation, about the government, about the constant bills. I used to complain about my life. And what was the result? Nothing changed. In fact, I felt that everything was getting worse. And it did not just happen to me. Science also confirms it. Our mind is controlled by a mechanism called confirmation. It means that when you believe in something, your subconscious mind starts looking for evidence to prove that belief. If you think that the world is unfair and it is difficult to earn money, then your mind will make it stronger every day. You will only see bad news. You will hear stories of failure, and every difficulty will seem even bigger in front of you. As a result, you become a prisoner of your own mentality. I know it can be difficult to hear this, but I have to be honest with you. As long as you believe that the world is responsible for your problems, nothing will change. I learned this lesson in a very difficult way. For years, I was a victim of my own mentality. I worked hard, but I could not reach anywhere. The more I tried, the more I felt trapped. Then one day I met a person who asked me a question who changed my life. He looked into my eyes and asked, "Why do you talk so much about your problems, but think so little about their solution?" This question was like a shock to me. For the first time, I felt that I was putting all my energy into seeing what was wrong. Instead of finding a way to change my life, I decided to stop complaining. No matter how difficult it is, I promised myself that I would not complain for a month. And in the first few days, I was very unsuccessful. Because complaining is like a stick. It becomes such a natural habit that we do not even realize it. But I did not give up. And then something unbelievable happened. My thinking changed. Instead of paying attention to what was wrong, I started looking for a solution. Instead of saying I do not have money, I asked myself, how can I earn more money? This company does not give me importance. Instead of saying, I thought, how can I make my own way? And the change in this mentality gave me something that cannot be valued. Freedom. Because as long as I was complaining, I was a prisoner. But when I stopped complaining and started taking responsibility, then I became the master of my life. Now tell me, how many times have you told yourself, my fate is bad? It is impossible to become rich in this country. Money is only for those who are born in rich families. If you have ever thought or said this, then you are programming your subconscious mind to keep you where you are now. But the good news is that you can change it, like I did. And to prove that this change actually works, I want to give you a challenge. For the next 7 days, do not complain about anything. If you catch yourself complaining, then stop immediately and express your point in a positive way. I cannot tolerate this job anymore. Instead of saying, tell me, I am working to make something better. I never have enough money. Instead of saying, tell me, I am looking for new ways to increase my income. If you do this, then I promise you that you will start seeing unbelievable changes in your life. Because when you change your mind, your reality also changes. Now I ask you, are you ready to get out of this cycle of complaints and control your fate? The choice is yours. Fear of failure is a dangerous trap. It is hidden in the form of subtle, calm, logic, caution, and plan. But in reality, it is a thief. It steals dreams, opportunities, and money. How many times have you thought of a great idea, got a powerful inner vision, felt a strong desire to change your life completely, but hesitated? How many times have you asked yourself, what if this is wrong? What if I lose everything? What if people make fun of me? I know this feeling very well. Fear has kept me trapped for years. It stopped me from taking those steps that could have changed my life long ago. I clearly remember that moment when I had an opportunity to invest in a hopeful business. I had resources, knowledge, and my inner knowledge was telling me that this is the right path. But I stopped. I started thinking about all the negative possibilities. What if I lose my money? What if I am making a mistake? I spent so much time that I lost that opportunity. Someone else took it. And a few years later, I saw that person succeeding at the same time that I could have. Fear of failure is a delusion. It forces you to think that where you are, it is safe to stay there. Whereas in reality, this is the biggest risk. Because if you don't move forward, you move back. There is no such thing as stagnation. The world keeps moving forward, and opportunities come to those who are ready to work. And this is the truth that changed my life. Every successful person has faced failure at some point. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Walt Disney was called the one who lacked imagination. And before he could make his empire, it was Diwali. Before Thomas Edison made the electric bulb, he saw thousands of failures. What was the similarity between all these people? They did not give up. They understood that every failure is a lesson. There is a step toward success. I am going to tell you a story that very few people know. When I started studying the mentality of wealth and success, I became crazy about finding a pattern, something that connected all those great people who achieved extraordinary achievements. And then I realized that there was one thing in common. They worked despite their fear. They knew that fear never disappears completely, but they still have to move forward. A Stanford University student told me that the fear of failure is directly related to inactivity. That is, the more you procrastinate, the more your fear increases. And the opposite is also true. The more you work, the less the fear will affect you. Now stop for a moment and think. How many opportunities have you missed just because of fear? How many times have you seen someone doing something that you also wanted to do, but you just stood and started looking for excuses? Do you really want to spend your whole life thinking that if this had happened, I would have decided that I do not want to live like this? And this is what I want for you too. The fear of failure will never disappear completely, but you can still learn to work. How? Here is an effective practice. Take a piece of paper and write which fear is stopping you from moving forward. Then write that if this fear becomes true, what can be the worst? In most cases, you will feel that the worst situation is not as terrible as you thought. Now write that if you showed courage and worked, what can be the best result? If the best result is more valuable than your worst doubt, then you already have your answer. There is only one way to defeat fear, that you let it dominate you. But if you just take a small step, then you are already moving towards victory. The question is, are you ready to stop running and finally take the first step? Because success does not belong to those who wait, but to those who work. The truth is that you will never be able to earn as much money as you think you deserve. And this is not just an inspiring statement. It is a fact. Science has proven that our self-image is the most important determinant of our success. If you think you are poor, if you think money is only for others, if you find it difficult to keep a lot of money, then these things will become your reality. I learned this in a difficult way. For years, I struggled to earn money. But whenever I earned a little more, something happened that pushed me back again. It felt like I was stuck in an endless cycle. And I know that many people are going through the same situation. You get a salary, and suddenly new expenses come up. You start saving, but something goes wrong, and you have to spend that money. This is not just luck. It is a pattern, and this pattern comes from your internal self-image. I learned from a lecture at Yale University that people have an internal thermostat. This means that we all have an unconscious limit to how much money we feel we have. If you cross this limit, then your unconscious mind will somehow bring you back to your comfortable level. This is why so many lottery winners become Diwali in a few years. They never changed their self-image and still considered themselves to be poor. Their unconscious mind ensured that their reality was again in line with their beliefs. The same thing happens to those athletes who destroy their own success after reaching the top. They don't see themselves as champions. That's why they somehow find a way to lose. Now stop and think. What is your current internal self-image? When you think about money, what comes first? Fear, guilt, doubt. If you feel that it is difficult to earn money, that it is only for the rich, then your unconscious mind will never allow you to reach your internal self-image. But the good news is that it can be changed. I had to completely recreate my internal self-image, and it was not easy. My beliefs related to money were deeply rooted. I had heard since childhood that money does not bring happiness. Rich people are greedy, and if you have a lot of money, then you must have exploited someone. These thoughts were obstructing my life. Then I understood the power of positive affirmation and visualization. I made a habit of telling myself every day that I am a rich person. I deserve wealth. Money comes to me easily and repeatedly. In the beginning, I did not believe these things, but I continued it. Because the things you repeat again and again, your mind starts believing them to be true. I started looking at my life as a rich person. It was not just a bank account. I did not dream of money, but I wanted to feel how this life would be. I used to see myself living independently. I used to invest in myself and help others. And then something amazing happened. My work started changing. I started taking decisions that I had never taken before. I started looking at those opportunities where I used to see only problems. This is what you have to do. If you want to change your financial situation, then first of all, you have to change the way you look at yourself. From today, whenever you say anything negative about money, change it immediately. I never have money. Instead of saying, I am learning to manage my financial situation better. Instead of saying, I am poor. Instead of saying, I am moving towards prosperity. And most importantly, start behaving like a rich person. It does not mean that you should spend money that you do not have. It means taking decisions wisely, investing in knowledge, looking for opportunities, and being with those people who have big dreams. Now tell me, are you ready to raise your financial status? Because the truth is that you can never earn more money than you think you deserve. But the good news is that you can change it. The decision is in your hands. You can watch all the motivational videos in the world. You can read all the books in the world. You can prepare your plan in detail. But if you do not work, nothing will change. This was the biggest mistake that kept me behind for many years. I used to think that before taking any step, I should have a complete plan. I used to spend weeks and months thinking about what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And then what would have happened? Nothing. I would have stayed there. Then one day I realized that the biggest enemy of success is not failure, but inactivity. The fear of making mistakes stops many people from taking decisions. I was one of those people. I used to think a lot. I used to think a lot. I used to hesitate a lot. And because of this, I lost many great opportunities. I remember a special incident. One of my friends gave me an opportunity to invest in a business. He had a solid plan, and everything was going in the right direction. I was excited, but instead of taking immediate steps, I wasted time thinking, what if this did not work? What if I lost the money? What if my decision was wrong? I kept thinking so much that by the time I made a decision, the opportunity was gone. Someone else took that opportunity and earned a lot of money, and I was left behind, thinking that I had lost a golden opportunity just because of fear. Maybe you must have experienced this too. How many times did you let an opportunity go just because you were waiting for the right time? For all, how many times have you told yourself that you need to learn before you start? I need to wait a little longer. I need to invest before I invest. I can understand because I used to think the same, but I want to tell you the truth. The right time never comes. Never. There will always be a new obstacle. There will always be a new reason with which you will keep waiting. And while you are waiting, other people are taking action, and those people are successful. A study conducted at Harvard University has shown that the most successful people are not those who always take the best decisions. Rather, they are those who make decisions quickly and improve on the way. This means that success is not always in making the right decisions, but in working and learning from your mistakes. Some people wait for certainty all their lives, while others take one step and then another, and make necessary changes. This is a thought that you have to accept. If you really want to change your situation, then you have to take a step now, right now, today, not tomorrow or next month, or when everything will be perfect, because nothing will ever be perfect. And the best thing is that you don't have to take a big step. You just have to start. Small steps bring big results. I learned this when I stopped waiting and started taking action. I made my first investment, even though I didn't know everything about the stock market. I started my first business, even though I wasn't sure about its success. And yes, I made a lot of mistakes, but every mistake taught me something valuable. And the most important thing is every mistake brought me closer to success. Now I want to challenge you. Choose something in your current situation that you have been avoiding for a long time. It can be your first investment plan, starting a new project, asking for a salary increase, or reducing unnecessary expenses, anything. And today, take a firm decision, no matter how small it is. Whether it is opening an investment account, gathering information about a course, or making an important call, just take action. Because if you don't do anything, nothing will change. This is the biggest difference between those who become rich and those who only dream all their life. Action. So now, I ask you, will you keep waiting, or will you take a step now? You may find this thinking against you, but I assure you that it is one of the most powerful rules of prosperity. And it is not just a philosophical or spiritual thought, but it is a real rule, which is followed by the richest people in the world. And I can prove it to you. For many years, whatever money I earned, I used to try to save it. I used to feel that to become rich, I should save as much as possible and spend as little as possible. I used to see money as it can end at any time. And guess what happened? I was always living in a state of whenever my income increased, something would happen that I would have to lose money again. I used to feel that money was slipping out of my hands. Then I realized that those who are actually rich, they have a special habit of generosity. They give, they contribute, they are not afraid to share whatever they have. And the most surprising thing is that the more they give, the more they get back. This thought was so interesting to me that I started researching it in depth. Scientific studies have shown that generosity activates those parts of the brain that are connected to happiness and prosperity. For example, A Harvard University study found that people who give regularly feel more personal satisfaction and are more successful in the long term. But why does this happen? Because by giving, your mind gets immersed in the mentality of prosperity. When you give this message to your subconscious mind, I have more than enough. And your subconscious mind responds, if you have enough to give, you can have even more. This mentality completely changes your perception of money. I tried it myself. In the beginning, it was not easy for me. I was afraid that if I gave something, I would not have enough for myself. But I decided that I would give a share of my earnings, no matter how much it was. And then a miracle happened. Money started coming in unexpected ways. Such opportunities came in front of me that I had never imagined. I felt that the more I contribute, the more I get back. And I am not the only person who has experienced Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg. All these people donate billions of rupees. And it is not a coincidence that they are continuously getting rich. They have understood a principle that very few people understand. Money is energy, and energy should flow. If you hold money because of fear, then you stop its flow. But when you share it, then you create a momentum. And this momentum helps you get more money back. You may be thinking that I am not a millionaire. I do not have enough money for myself. How can I give anything? And my answer is that generosity does not depend on quantity, but on mentality. To understand this principle and to adopt it, you do not need to donate your time. Share your knowledge without expecting any reward. You can help someone. The most important thing is to give up the mentality of lack and adopt the mentality of prosperity. That is why I want to give you a challenge. For the next 7 days, donate something. It can be money, it can be time, or it can be a merciful deed, but do it wholeheartedly without expecting any reward. And then see what happens. I assure you that if you do it with a true heart, then you will feel a powerful change in your life. And this change will be the beginning of your real prosperity. Now tell me, are you ready to change your attitude towards money and to open the door of a new life full of prosperity? The spiritual life that you want does not depend on external circumstances or any miraculous event. It completely depends on you, on your decisions, on your mentality, on your ability to work, on your ability to overcome your fears, and above all, on the belief that you are capable of prosperity. Now you have understood which habits were hindering your success. Now the question is, what are you going to do? Because it is not enough your life will change when you implement this knowledge in reality. And if you want to continue your progress, then a video is waiting for you on your screen right now. Through this video, you will take another step in your journey and become 1% better than yourself every day. Click and continue your journey. I will meet you there.